What the fuck is good? Good morning. I hope y'all got y'all coffees up. Hopefully you guys are appropriately rolled up. Look, I'm part of the star today. See the star in the back. What's up with y'all, man? Wow, there is so much happening right now in the music industry. We can't spend too much time on any of this stuff. This might even be a long stream, y'all. I don't know. Depends. But honestly, I didn't even put a lot of articles up because the articles were so heavy. Plus, we're always shaking up the internet. I figure Wednesdays I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I wanted to write this down real quick. I did shave. Thank you. Yo, I got a lot of gray hair. So sometimes I'm inspired to shave. All right, so I wanted to make some changes to the live stream. So one of them was it starts at 10:30. That's one. But you guys already know that. And then the other one would be on Fridays. I'm hoping that you guys at home could choose some articles throughout the week. I don't care what it is. It doesn't have to be the music industry. Of course, that's what we're doing here. We want to be able to teach about the music industry. How's my microphone today? Is my microphone louder than the applause? It really should be. For real, if you guys can, if you feel like it, you're not required to, but if you feel like it throughout the week, what the hell is this bullshit? If you want to throughout the week, you can look up your own articles. It doesn't necessarily have to be the music industry. It doesn't have to be all of that. It could be something, silly, funny. There's only a couple things I really would like to avoid. And that is anything to do with the political or religion arena. No politics, no racism, sexism, or political news. It's just something we don't do here on the page. But if you want, honestly, you could look up any type of crazy news, tech articles, especially music stories, even if they're celebrity related. Bring them on over, and basically every Friday I will collect the articles that you guys send me. Just inbox me or the page or whatever. We'll find it. Send us the articles you want me to cover on Friday mornings, and Friday mornings I will cover the articles that you guys send me. But it's not Friday today. It's Wednesday, right? So on Wednesdays, what I would like to do is something a little bit different. On Wednesdays, from here on out, because it's Honeycomb Hideout Day, so we cover a couple articles there. So basically, it would eliminate all of us here in the staff trying to hunt down and research articles twice on Wednesday. Meaning we could split the research up, we could split the homework up, and then most of it can be presented tonight on the podcast, but this is more of a live stream and a conversation between you and I where we're examining and looking at the music industry and the social media evolving landscape. So it's like we want this to be a little bit more free-flowing. We want this to be layered. We don't want to really be on a time limit here as much as we are at the podcast. So that's why this style is a little bit different. So for Wednesdays here on William vs. the World, we decided we are going to take some of our own content and we would repurpose it, repost it, and we would go over your comments and we would go over our community comments throughout the week. This was posted by Melissa yesterday. A lot of people were excited about this post, okay? And I wanted to just give everyone an opportunity for me to read some of their comments. Sorry, I was reading. I wanted to come on and read some of the other people's comments. I don't know everybody, and I can't read all of the comments, but there is... Yeah, we just boosted it this morning too. Good. So there's 239 comments on it, and this is a community call to action. This is a community awareness style post. And I'll just skip to it now. But the main topic of this post is Melissa, myself, the band, reaching out to the local and regional bands that are the most promising, the most popular, and really the bands who've lasted the test of time and show the most promising sign of success here on social media, specifically Facebook, and this was a call. The main point, the main topic of this post was a call to action for self-awareness in musicians that advocate and promote community. So this isn't a message to Santa Claus. You know what I mean? Like this isn't a message to an angry death metal band that wants to play with no one. That's not who this message is to. And this post is, and this message also is not addressed to fans that are outside of the music industry. It is a public announcement, and therefore people are allowed to comment on our page publicly. So I thought to myself, Wednesdays would be a perfect opportunity for me to come on and read a few comments from our public posts to include, to reinforce, to show everybody in the world truly how inclusive we truly are. What better way to promote an inclusive community? It's time to put our money where our mouths are. If you're going to promote being inclusive, if we are advocating and we are advertising community in independent music, this post is about us being able to reach the real and authentic community, not the ones simply saying it in a Facebook post when they want to make a point, or they need a call to action, or they need attention from their neighbors. People that are truly invested in community. This post was an announcement, was a public awareness, and a call to action for those bands and individuals and participants to present a conversation and challenge ourselves with the topic of competition versus community, and us challenging ourselves, either here or in private, to come up with any evidence, to come up with any sign, to show consistently of where competitive mentalities and competitive nature for independent and local artists has been good for us. And even with nearly 300 comments, we still have not gotten any good examples of how competition brings us together and adds value, prioritizing fans and making dope shows. Out of almost 300 comments, most of the comments that disagree with us, which is fine, they label, when we bring up important topics in the music industry, people that disagree with us label what we do as complaining or whining. We hear it all the time. So when we bring up exploitation, when we bring up abuse, when we bring up unfair treatment, when we bring up sexism, when we bring up stealing in hard rock and heavy metal in the music industry, people write it off as complaining. People that disagree with our message always write it off and label what we do and what we are saying as a complaint. That we are whining about the music industry. Hey, and that's fair. That is a fair opinion. I'll meet you halfway and I'll compromise with you. Fine, it's a complaint. But when was it inappropriate to complain about unfair wages? When is it a complaint? When does a complaint turn into standing up for yourself? And that just depends on the individual. So I want to talk about this particular post, and I assure you it's not a complaint, and I'm going to tell you why. There's nothing in the post that is referencing our career climb. I know we make these posts and sometimes they can be harsh or heavy or emotional, but I assure you a lot of the times we're not addressing things that we're going through currently. We may be talking about things that we have been educated on. We may recall upon events that have happened to us in our history at a combined effort of education and knowledge, and through our networks we address the music industry as it evolves daily. That's not a complaint. That's like saying anybody that presents any news on Live Nation is spreading negativity. You know, that's like if Spotify doesn't pay artists and we tell you about it, it gets written off that we're whining, you know. Or that another one that we hear is our music is so terrible. And that's why we have such a strong, our music is so terrible. That's how we have such a strong appetite for community and unity. But this post here is not, even if I compromise with you and say, sure, just we can label this a complaint. I can only compromise because we're actually offering several solutions. We're not just complaining. We are reporting on the current climate in our experience over 14 years of the modern music industry. We've been independent. We've been signed to labels. We have a lot of experience. We've won multiple awards. We've worked with several partners and celebrities, and we're playing some of the biggest festivals. And there's not too much more I could tell you about, except I think that we're qualified because we are fiscally responsible, because we buy our groceries with it, because we've made a career out of it. I think we're qualified to speak about it because we have real life examples of exploitation. We have real life examples of people ripping us off. We have real life examples of where competition has been terrible for the music industry. And this is a call to action of awareness and challenging yourself to ask yourself the question, as a band, as a musician, when has competition ever truly been an ingredient for growth or happiness in the independent community? When? Let's see what you guys said. We'll just do a couple. We'll do a couple. Because we really can't read hundreds of thousands of these fucking things. Okay. So another thing, you guys. We don't mind people being opinionated. Please use your English. But when you guys start name calling or being insulting, or just creating confusion, and if you're on the page and we feel like you're promoting dysfunction or you're truly off topic, me and Melissa are going to remove the comment. You know what I mean? If you can stay on topic and disagree with us, that's okay. But if we are on topic and we are addressing independent bands uniting together, it's hard for us to read comments that are addressing us complaining about the music industry. The topic of the post isn't the music industry. The topic of the post is almost like a letter written to bands that feel the same way that we do. And what better way to address that and address all of the people in our lives but do it on a global basis because we have the ability to. But this is, even if I compromise with you, let's see what some of the others have to say. I saw Shallow Point. This is another band. So these are the people we want to hear from. We love hearing from the fans. But when we make these kinds of posts, we are really reaching out to bands. And what we are saying is, look, there's a lot of competition in the local and regional scene. Wouldn't it be valuable to all of us if the ones that had the ability, to rediscover, uniting together to prioritize shows, wouldn't it be valuable to put our differences and our tastes and personal beliefs aside for the priority of the fans and building better shows with bigger and better draw? That competition fragments and divides our fan bases. Wouldn't it make sense that the most professional and promising bands on Facebook play shows together? Wouldn't it be valuable for us to put our personal beliefs outside of music and focus on the stage and creating high quality shows? That's what this post is addressing. That's the call to awareness. That's what Melissa's trying to point out. Let's hear what Shallow Point has to say. Everybody, please go follow Shallow Point. I appreciate it. Look, here's this stuff right here. Why am I doing this? Because this is what I mean when I say I'm qualified. When I say Melissa is qualified. This isn't just about making a Facebook post. It's about backing it up. It's not about just talking about community. It's about doing community. It's not just saying you have love for rock and metal and saying that it's inclusive. It's about actually letting people in and doing love. So the only reason why I'm opening this back up is because of the amount of people that are misunderstood. And some of them, I think they're just playing games, but I get it. This is how I respond to that, by showing you, by proving to you, again, this is the evidence that we really believe in community. You're looking at it right now, because there are no other bands that are doing what I'm doing at this very second. This, what I'm doing right now, no other bands go on their band page and show what the other bands sound like, what they believe, what they think. That's what this post was addressing. What is preventing other bands from uniting to prioritize, to educate, to add value and quality to the scene? What amazing reward have we gotten from being competitive with each other? What is it? If competition is so good in local music, then why aren't the most competitive bands battling me? I'm inviting you. If you think that you're a competitive band, I don't, but if you do, Sepsis does not want to compete with you. We don't want to have power over other bands. We don't want to sound like other bands. In fact, indeed, it's quite the opposite. So we feel that bands are already unique on their own, that there is no competition. We think that we all in the scene, especially on Facebook, you know what I mean? In the region, we all have so much to offer. There's so much variety and so much diversity. How could I be competitive with all you talented people? You all are so good at what you do, I would never want to step in your lane. And I know there's no way all of you talented musicians out there want to be in Sepsis or play music like us. I know when you hear our music, you go, wow, that shit's really unique. They're on their own with that. We feel the same way. The bands that are on Facebook, the modern bands that are in the region, the modern bands at the local and regional level are so different from each other. I have a hard time even taking competition seriously in a conversation. However, if you claim to be a competitive band, if you say that competition is indeed good for independent and regional acts, please prove it by showing us where competition has been good for independent or local bands. Please show me. Because if it was, then the most promising competitive bands on Facebook would be competing with each other in public, putting on a show. If people loved competition, they would be happy to do it. If people that were in small bands and independent bands were excited to compete with each other in public, they'd be doing it. If competition was so value, we'd all be making money off of it. But competition winds up being an issue because people take competition personally. And they take competition personally in music because people at the independent level have been personally investing themselves their entire lives. They have been investing their person. They've been going to work at their personal jobs and investing in their craft, laying their personalities, their personal beliefs, and their personal bank accounts on the line, buying gear, advertisements, developments, buy-ons. People spend their entire lives perfecting their art and their craft, especially in rock and metal. So when you make rock and metal at the independent level, when you make it competitive, it becomes personal, not productive, not professional. Why don't you want competition at the independent or DIY level? Because people at the DIY and independent level are trying to build a career, and they take it personally. And they take it personally. From the way they feel about their instruments, to the lyrics, to the miles on the road. The guys that I know in rock and roll, the guys I know 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s, work really hard as independents. That's why they take it personal. That's why you don't want competition in the independent scene, because people take it personal. Why? Because many of us have invested our entire lives in it to try to justify making a living. Some of you guys are just trying to go viral. There's no problem with you guys. Some of you guys are in it for a year or two. There's no problem with that. But some people are in their 30s, and their 40s, and their 50s, and 60s, and on. Some of the biggest, greatest bands of all times are in their 60s and 70s and still playing today. So, some people take it seriously and personally because they have invested their entire life savings into it. Because they've treated their bands like businesses, they absolutely take it personal because they've been trying to make a living. So, Shallow Point says, as sad as it is, I don't have any answers. When you are beginning in the local scene, all of the bands will support you. But God forbid that one band is actually liked more than another and gains an actual following. At that point, it's like gnarling teeth. They try to chase you out of the local scene, of which you by then leave very willingly. They shit talk you to death, and they try to make everyone not like you. Are you listening to what this band is saying? Now, the reason why I had to read this one, this is not a local band that's been a band for 5 minutes. Look at Shallow Point's been around for a long time. They have 18,000 followers. This is not a band that doesn't know about investing their free time and their own. These people know how to spend some money and how to invest their free time into their dream. That's what I'm saying. No one is catering to these people. Let's see. They have opened up for Hell Yeah, Sick Puppies, Sevendust, Avatar, Gemini Syndrome. That's who they opened up for. And they got 18,000 followers. And you see, we're following them. The reason why I'm showing you this is because they're taking advantage of the unity and the community that we were talking about as the main topic in this post. They took advantage and they leveraged our page in a positive way by telling their own story. This post was for bands like them, and they absolutely get it. But I want to point out, this band has a lot of experience, and they've been around for more 2 to 3 years. Do you see what they just said? Now, you never see bands saying this, and you see them saying it. They try to chase you out of the local scene. Look at that. Why would this band come on our page and write this huge statement? If what we were saying was just whining and complaining, Well, then what is this? They try to chase you out of the local scene, of which you by then leave very willingly. They shit talk you to death to try to make everyone not like you. So you go out into the real world and discover shysters and rip-off artists everywhere, and everyone wants your money, but nobody's willing to pay you. Yo, are you reading this? This is another band. Let's go. Let's go. They say here, and you're lucky. You're lucky if anyone makes minimum wage at all in the band. And it costs every dime you make for the trip to get to your next live show. The sad reality is that my job pays way better than this ever will. At the end of the day, it's never been about the money for Shallow Point. It's never been about the money, or most to us, or mostly any other band. We just love making music. We love to write, record, play live. Luckily, I am very happy in my day-to-day life. I have a wonderful job, wonderful family, wonderful friends, and a wonderful place to live. My life is amazing and awesome, and I'm glad for them on that. But there you have it. I'm glad that your personal life is going really well. And I hope to play with Shallow Point at some time. They're very generous, kind people. But there you have it. This is from a regular band just like us, regular neighbors, with a regular report of the modern day music industry. Let's go to the circus in your town. Sometimes these guys pop on and chat it out with us. I don't know. I haven't read this comment yet, so let's just read it. If you guys come to the PNW, or we came and played a show with you in your hometown, we would try and build a show for the local crowd, even being an outsider band. We all do the same thing when playing music on any level. We have always been the band that no one knows about, and we still keep playing because we love to play. And that's exactly why I encourage bands to comment on our page and in our groups. And that's why I'm going to start reading you guys' comments every Wednesday morning, just like this. Because instead of just talking about community, instead of just role-playing unity and community, once again, Sepsis will always be there in real life, in real time, doing real things in the physical world to show you guys, to add real world, real life, physical value to all of us. You guys can use our page. You guys can use our voice, use our reach, use our follower count, use our groups, use our voice. Combine our voice together for a higher resonation. This is what we want. This is what we want. So I'm going to come on every Wednesday and read you guys' comments to show you guys that not only do we put on shows, not only do we do charities, not only do we're not fucking event coordinators. Do you know how many bands we take on and hire and book every year? We had to make Swarmy Fest. We had to get a whole nother stage just for bands to come and play Swarmy Fest. That's how serious we are about community. We're so serious about community, we get off of Facebook and do something about it. Let's rock. They go on to say, we really wish we could be the biggest band in the world and play to thousands all over the world. But our reality is that we are not, and that's okay. And you know what? And I'm going to jump in here. Like for Sepsis, we don't wish to be bigger than anyone else. Our post was about unifying and being together and being mutual. The post that we presented yesterday was about unifying and community. It wasn't about complaining about the music industry. It's hard how that misinterpretation. It's strange to me how some people receive that translation. I don't know how we could go from, hey, here are the things that are happening. Here is the truth about the modern day music industry, and here's what we can do to unify and add value to it. I don't see that as a complaint. Yeah. Yep. So I gotta say, for us, I don't know if you're in context. We wish we were the biggest band in the world. Not us. We don't wish that we were the biggest band in the world. And as far as playing for thousands, who gives a fuck about playing in front of 1,000 people who hate you? Like, honestly, I'd rather play in front of 100 people who knew who the fuck we were or gave a shit, rather than 500 people who were mad that we wanted to unify our own community. What are you talking about? We get to play for music. We get to play music for people who enjoy live music. That is the point. And I think if you're prioritizing that, there's no problem, right? If you're doing it for the right reasons. And in that, we get a fan or two along the way. As a band, we build our own shows, network with great bands, and pay them for their time when playing shows we book. I work with great venues, discard the bad ones, and everyone gets paid. I love that, guys. That's so awesome. Great job. Hold on, let me jump into the chat, see how y'all doing. I see we got our Sepsis fan page in here. Hans says it takes a team to make the dream work. Real talk. Hans said complaining is for consumers. I agree, brother. Like, if we do research and diagnostic, or we're involved in community activities that people don't agree with instantly, then it's filed under a complaint. You know what I mean? If somebody comes to our page and they simply disagree with us, they accuse us of whining or complaining. That's all. It's a tactic for people that don't disagree with us. If they can get us to believe that we're whining and complaining, of course, because whining and complaining is so unattractive. It's not. When things are fucked up, you whine, you complain, you fucking stomp somebody's skeleton into the dust. I don't care what you got to do. When something's wrong, it's wrong. When people get ripped off at Walmart, they complain. When people order something at a restaurant and then they get the wrong food, they complain. When you go to the dentist and you receive pain, you complain. I don't know what you're talking about. When things are fucked up in the world, we complain. Call it what you want. You can use whatever English words you want to try to manipulate and make it unattractive. You can call it a report, an ombudsman, a complaint, a grievance. Whatever word you need to make your brain process it. It doesn't matter to me. Information is information. It's like people that are getting sexually abused. Okay, you report it. The next day, you report it. The next day, you report it. And people go, oh man, you need to stop whining about it. Maybe that's the problem. Is we label all of this shit complaining and whining, and we hope to attach negativity to every report, because that's what we're used to doing on the internet. But professional people aren't used to doing that. I can tell you for sure, we're used to looking at analytics. We're used to looking at bad news. And speaking for myself, I've been in front of the parole board 7 times. I know what it's like to be told no. And I'm telling you the same thing. No. Call it what you want. We got the right to do it. The Orfix says, I'm with you, sister. Unification. Look, we'll even give him a follow for that. See? Look at that. Look at that. Unification. There you go. Real world evidence. Oh, look at this guy. His name is Hans. Okay. So he says success exists by investing a lot of money. I cannot argue with him there. Talent with no money struggle and maybe stop making music or end up in a cover band. Surviving. There is a certain group of older musicians that tour and play and make lots of money. What is wrong and where does it go wrong? It started in the 90s and people's ego. Look at that. Maybe he's complaining, right? Or is that a report? Matt says, well said, living in a small town as a solo guitarist, looking for work, no one wants to work together. Took a part-time gig as a sound guy just to be a part of something this summer. Good shit, man. That's community. Well done, Matt. Keep recording, working on my own shit. Eventually, I'll have to focus on marketing, media, and all that crap. But yes, I don't understand who holds the keys to the front gate of the metal world. Thought we were special because we didn't have a fucking gate. See, Matt seems to feel the same way that many do. Is that we were taught that heavy metal was inclusive. But here, Matt clearly understands that it isn't. Rick Barnes says the issue is Napster. He says, and Napster is a streaming company. Let's see what he has to say. Rick says the issue is Napster. Or really, the guy that decided he wanted to send his friends some music across the internet invented the MP3 file. Then Napster made media free. Do you see what he's saying there? Game changer. Now what? Lars cried. But you are here because of that. It's almost impossible to fund a band and even get noticed. The industry is corporate. You now need to sell out in every way. Sell to the corporate world. Make commercials. Make soundtracks. But the odds are slim now. Being in a metal band is like it was in the 70s. Not much airplay and references as devil stuff. My advice is, hopefully you enjoy making music and that is enough. Very well said, dude. Okay, In Your Dreams. Here's a good one. In Your Dreams says, 0 following and 49,000 followers. Kind of rude, isn't it? It's not rude. I'll show you why. Here we go. You see this? Here, stupid. Here, for all you stupid motherfuckers out there. Look at how stupid you are. Look. We almost followed 2,000 people, brother. See, the thing that you guys don't understand is we have to, sadly, I know it's sad, but we have to hide who we follow. 'Cause you weird motherfuckers and you criminal-minded snakes and sneaks and cowardly poachers, you guys go and hunt and poach and piggyback and play games with the people that we follow because you guys are petty, weak, and jealous, and you wouldn't do none of this shit in front of my face. So, unfortunately, we hide our followers. Look at the screen. Go look at our Instagram. We follow thousands of people. Go look at our Twitter. We follow thousands of people. But we know you creeps on Facebook can't be trusted because we have real world examples of you guys not being able to handle popularity. We have real world examples of how a lot of you out there treat social media like a fucking attention machine, knowing goddamn well most of us are here trying to build our career climbs and make a living. But there's a greater handful of you that are here for attention. So unfortunately, we hide our fucking follows, genius, for people like you who can't wait to catch us with our hand in the cookie jar. We know, we can predict, and it's far too obvious that some of you want attention so bad that you visit our page for attention. You don't like the music, you've never listened to it, and that's fine. That's okay. Even if you don't like our music, we appreciate you giving it a shot. But far too many of you are here trying to catch us in a crime. Far too many people are on the Sepsis page hoping to catch us in a scandal or with our hand in the cookie jar. But I don't have any skeletons in my fucking closet. And unlike the main characters in the music industry and the fake community members that advocate for unity and community, I'm out here putting my money where my mouth is, and I did my fucking time. So I don't have any skeletons in my closet. You see, that's the difference between me and the criminals in the music industry. Because it takes a criminal to know one. And I did my fucking time. That's the difference between me and the criminals in the music industry. Takes one to know one. Fuck out of here. How do you think I know about it in the first place? Anyhow, that's why we hide our follows. Because people are too interested in catching us up in a lie instead of just enjoying music. Or you know what, if you run into content or we read an article to you that you don't like, why don't you go do some of your own homework? You're far too much invested in catching us. So if you can come on and comment and label what we do as a complaint, then I only have one thing to tell you. Stop complaining. If you know what I mean, if you can label what we do as a complaint, then what the fuck do you call you complaining about it? Strange. It's very strange to me. So, let's get back to the comment. So, 0 following and 49 followers. Look, he thinks he's so fucking smart. Kinda rude, isn't it? So he's not interested in the topic. He's not interested in unifying. He's not talking about community. He's not talking about independent or DIY music. He's not even talking about the band. This person is only communicating to try to point out something that we did wrong. And he's not even accurate while doing it. He fell for the trap. That's so weird. We hide our followers for people like you, dude. For people that are constantly trying to catch us in a crime. You're so dumb. We don't have any skeletons in our closet, and we're not trying to be part of some metal community. So you can't take away anything from us that we don't accept. We don't accept any invitation to be part of this bullshit. To build an inside group, my brother, is to create an outside group. What we are talking about is a heavy metal for all types of people. Let's go on. So even though he was wrong, he asked, it's kind of rude, isn't it? We all looked. No, it's not. And old school? I don't know what that means. Considering your long-ass post about the lack of community. Yeah, we have groups with hundreds of thousands of bands in it. And we do shows all year round for the community. We do that in real life. So clearly this guy he probably has no clue even who we are. But so I'll give him that. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm also sure there's more hyper local gigs for you there than for me here. He's internalizing, talking about his own life. We weren't talking about our individual experiences. You mentioned some failings in the industry, but remember those bad actors in any, there is bad actors in any industry. He's right about that. Come up from the gutter, corrupt either way. burn out or get busted, then return to the gutter. Yeah, I'm not. This is a business to me that I do take personal. This is a lifetime investment in my dream. I don't. Maybe some bands, for them it's a hobby or it's just a gig or whatever. But for us, that's the point we're trying to tell you. For us, this is a lifetime achievement. For us, this is a lifetime goal. So I'm not looking to. He's talking about bad actors and going to the gutter and corruption and right. That's why we advocate for community. That's why we advocate for authentic community with people that can handle it. It's not like we're reaching out to people to join a community that can't handle it. We know there's plenty of you on social media that can't handle it. We know. Even Andrea here knows better. Thank you. She says most professional pages don't show followers for a reason. As stated above, for example. Yo, that's true, man. Like, thank you. I appreciate you. I really do appreciate her for saying that. Scott says, thanks, Melissa, for posting and sharing. Yes, absolutely. She caught a lot of flack for it. He says, I see everything you're saying. I have watched this for a long time. Bands struggling, venues struggling, crooked agents and promoters. The big money is going to the streaming companies. They get $1,000 and throw us a penny. It's very simple. Scott gets it. That's the reason we want to unify. That's not a complaint. He's stating the reason why there is a call to action. And that's tough for a lot of y'all. CP says, I agree 100%. But it is in the art. It's in the arts in general. I have been a published author, artist, and musician for well over 20 years now, and have worked hard to get where I am and continue to go. But these companies manufacturing artists and spoon feed the world is disgusting. But people keep buying this garbage, so who is really to blame? It's a crazy game, but you guys are doing it right, and I love your style. Keep up the great work. That's dope. You are absolutely correct about power and control in the industry that just want to enrich themselves. Wish you the best on your road to success and can't wait to see you at Rockfest. That was a rhyme. Thank you, Steve. Chris says this is very similar to how the elites control the world. I'm not going to argue with that. All right. I'll do one more. This is Jesse. Again, I don't know all these people. I hope they're not mad at me for sharing their ideas and view, because my whole purpose here is to show you in real time what I mean by community. Seems like the few bands we see stay famous and huge are the cash cows that get fed to us by corporation. But by design, it keeps nearly all the other bands who are indie and not at the top being hindered from being heard or growing in the industry. Pause. Now, I want to look at that real quick. That is the reason why Melissa made the post. That's not a complaint. That is showing you the evidence in the real world, real time climate, and the call to action addressing the appropriate conversation with other like-minded advocates and promoters that are advertising an inclusive community. That is the reason. Read up top. It keeps nearly all the other bands who are indie and not at the top being hindered from being heard or growing in the industry. However, this is what they don't tell you. They don't tell you that the independent music industry is still a multi-billion-dollar fucking industry. You guys are taught to look at indie and go, oh, that stuff kind of sucks. Independent, that's kind of low value. We're rebranding independence everywhere we go. We rebrand the word indie every time we need to make a new point. When we need music to be low quality, it's indie. When we need people to fight for the underdog, they're indie. When celebrity bands need a new take, when celebrity rappers and singers need new branding, they call themselves independent. Bro, you're killing me with this shit. And this is the thing that people don't understand. While you're having the talk about independent, nobody is factoring in, it is still, no matter how you want to slice it, a multi-billion-dollar industry that wants to be kept in secret. They want people to believe that there's no money, that there is not billions of dollars invested into ripping off indie artists. I'm trying to show y'all something, and that is where con men and criminals swoop in and make the independent climate competitive. That's what I'm trying to say to y'all. And when the industry is weak and fragmented and segregated, we are not sharing events, we're not sharing technology, we're not sharing ways to get ahead, we're not sharing ways to protect ourselves, we don't have each other's backs, and that leaves a massive hole, that leaves a massive space for crooked supervisors, that leaves a massive space for crooked supervisors, A&Rs, managers, and labels to take advantage of dreamy wannabe rockers. That's what you're not getting. So when I'm promoting community, what I'm promoting is a conduit, a pipeline of real information that you can measure and do your own homework on every single fucking day. Jesse goes on to say, can I tell you how many bands I've listened to where I was like, these guys are going to be huge one day, just to see them disappear or never get big because of money, politics, or who you know. Seems like it's not much about the talent, but who you know and the connections to that will get you to mainstream. Pause. Seems like it's not so much about the talent, but who you know and the connections. So when I say to you, why won't people play with us? If competition is so good, how come the most competitive bands aren't competing with me? If competition is so good, then the most competitive bands should be competing with my band. Not because we're competitive, but because we believe in community and unity, and we are willing to compromise and meet you halfway. And I put out a personal invitation to the most competitive bands on Facebook. If you really believe that competition is great for rock and roll and the independent community, then I invite you to a challenge. If you think that competition is really good for your band, and you think if you think competing with my band is good for you, I offer the most competitive, talented bands on social media to come and compete with my band. Let's build a show. I want the most competitive bands to inbox me today so we can set up a show. The most competitive bands that believe competition is good for independent bands, inbox me today so we can set up a show with the most competitive bands on Facebook and throw the fuck down. So since competition is so good for us, let's compete. Start tagging bands. Start tagging them. See, I'd like to unify, and I'd like to build a community where we can help support each other and share information and resources and build shows together. But there's a large part of the community out there There's a big part of the unified community out there. They are unified in competition and division. But how can you compete if you're divided? Let me meet you halfway. Fine. Competition is great for independent bands. So let's compete against my band. Let's prove that competition is good for independent bands. And we will put together a show with the most powerful, potent, talented, competitive bands. I want the most competitive bands to inbox me today so we can get to this competition. Let's compete. Win, lose, or draw, because competition is fucking so good for all of us. Why isn't everybody doing it, and why aren't we doing it, and why aren't we happy with doing it? If people really believe in this, then they should be happily competitive. But you touched on something here, Jesse. You said it doesn't seem like it's much about the talent, but who you know. And that's another reason why bands don't want to play with us. Because they think if they play with a band that speaks out about the music industry, they won't get picked to be part of the music rock and roll club. They think if they do, bands believe that if they do shows with Sepsis, because we speak out about the music industry so fearlessly and so fucking boldly, there's bands out there that feel that if they associate with us, the bands out there, the independent bands out there, because we are so outspoken, because we talk so much about the music industry, because we share our experiences so boldly, because we're willing to tell the truth about what's happened to us about the music industry, and we aren't afraid. We don't walk around and we don't go online fearful of what other people think about us when we share the truth. Because we are so openly and boldly outspoken about the music industry, there are many independent bands that would love to play a show with us. However, they fear it will ruin their chances at making a living in the music industry. So you touched on something good right there. You're absolutely right. It seems like it's not about talent, but who you know and who you have connections with. And also who you don't have connections with. Because a lot of bands feel that if they stay divided, they have a better chance at making a living. See? Do you see it? Furthermore, people that don't like what we have to say, unfollow our page and go fuck yourself. I thought I told you guys that last time. So for all you smartasses out there that don't believe in community, for all the people out there that are so against the bands unifying, then why don't you divide yourself from our page? Why don't you disappear and go work with the bands that like to stay divided? That's the whole point of the post. It's not to call out terrible people and bad actors. Nah, man. It's to call the people, it's to call upon the people that understand that we have an issue. And the issue is some people are truly about community, while other people are role-playing community when they need favors. That is the issue. Is when it's convenient and people think they're going to get something out of it, metal is inclusive. When it's convenient and people think they can get booked, or people think they can move the needle or advance in the music industry, they're willing to align with certain groups, even if they don't believe in it. When being inclusive is popular and gets you booked, people are all inclusive. You heard from the first 3 bands that left comments on the page. I didn't see any bands come on here expressing or responding to the main topic of the post. And that was unity and division. Most people couldn't even stay on topic. They were so emotionally wound up by what she said. They can't even pay attention to it. So this post is designed to reach. This post is designed to inspire and encourage the people that this resonates with. The people that can see through the darkness. The people that don't the people that are not fearful to ask questions, the people that are not role-playing community could have a light, could have a conversation that leads to hope and a beacon and a place where they know that they can come and they can feel this way, that sepsis and our pages and our groups are truly inclusive, and we prove that every single day. Can't imagine the struggle of trying to afford being in a band when you're suppressed by higher up corporations and when you got thousands of other artists wanting that spot too. I know way too many friends who started rock and metal bands and ended up going south. I knew one who picked up steam because they opened up for some well-known bands but didn't get anywhere because they didn't have the right connections with the right companies or producers. It's a tough game, one that isn't for me, but I commend you guys for trying your best, and I hope you guys get the recognition that you deserve. And I appreciate that, and not to like, I don't want to like devalue that or anything, but this post wasn't about us getting recognition. I think that that's widely misunderstood about us. Seriously, I think that is widely misunderstood. This post isn't about the music industry, really, you know. And I think that when we report about stuff, I think sometimes people try to figure out what we're trying to achieve, and I don't really feel that that's important. We're not unhappy with our career climb. Just because we report on what's happening in the modern day music industry, that just means that's what's on the menu. That's the news for the day. You know, if we post about Live Nation ripping people off, it's because that's what's going on in the music industry, and we're reporting on that. If Spotify is shortchanging musicians, we're just reporting on that. It's not really about us getting recognition. You know, the truth is we get a ton of recognition. So I don't know how that's misunderstood a lot from our posts. We're not looking for recognition. We're not looking for more shows. We're not looking for money. You know, I don't know how that keeps getting misunderstood. We're just reporting on what happens every day, you guys. You know, I think you guys are missing that. And hey, here's another thing. I can tell you right now why competition is an ugly thing. And I can tell you because we are the most qualified to tell you that competition doesn't add value to the independent community. Because we are 3-time award winners. Do you understand? We are 3-time New England Music Award winners in the rock and metal category. We have won the award back to back, and every time that we are nominated for our 6th state regional award, we win it. We have won it 3 times. We have won it so many times that I have asked Sepsis's name to be removed from all future nominations. That's how much we add to the community. We have won the award so many times in private. I have been asked by my staff. I have reached out to the committee and asked them, please remove any future nominations from our band. That's how much value Sepsis actually invests in our regional community. We won the New England Music Awards in 2019. We returned and won it again in 2021. In 2022, I asked them to remove us from the nomination so somebody else could win it. And in 2023, we won again. In 2023, for the third time, we won the Hard Rock Metal Act of the Year in our 6-state regional music award. And not one of the bands that was nominated congratulated us for winning. Not one. Not one of the bands at the New England Music Awards. Not one. And I don't have a problem with that. We were nominated with several bands at the New England Music Awards, and when we won the New England Music Awards last year, not one of them formally congratulated us. Yeah, I got on stage and I told everybody, I said, look, man, winning awards, it doesn't make you a happy person. It doesn't make you a kind person. I got on stage and I told everybody, the whole room of thousands of people, I said, you guys all sit around here with your fancy clothes on and your awards and your selfie sticks, all sucking each other off, patting each other on the back. But the truth is, none of these awards make you a nice person. None of these awards proves that you're a better guitar player than everybody else. And I said to all the bands here, they all fought, they all deserve to be winners, and they are all talented people in their own right. And would you have it? Not one of our fellow nominees, formally even congratulated us. So there you have it. So when I tell you that competition adds no value to the independent scene, I'm more than qualified. Do you get it? Do you fucking get it? It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Guys, they're starting all kinds of demolition and power tools. And I'm trying to ignore it, but it's really making me upset. That's not why I was mad earlier. I'm trying to have this fucking stream. And they're like, I don't know if they're cutting down the fucking wall or something. But I'm about to lose my fucking temper. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm gonna end the chat now, because they're supposed to give us notices when they're doing this stuff. You know what I mean? I'll try to get back in the comments. I really apologize for having to cut it short, but I can't continue having a serious conversation while they're doing that. I just can't do it. Thank you guys for being here, and I mean, I'll be back tomorrow, of course. And there's the Honeycomb Hideout tonight. Much love to y'all, man.